Hi, Maddie. You tell Steven that his grilled cheese is ready. Yeah, come here.
I'm actually joining in on a remote P.T.A. meeting in 3 minutes.
Okay.
Hi, Jamie. It's Brian. Just to check in with you, could you give me a heads up with the number of people on the call at this point?
At this current time, we have 55 people.
Okay. So I suggest we'll start around 6:31, give or take.
Okay.
How's everyone doing?
They're not supposed to answer you.
That's so funny.
Everyone is so well behaved and following directions and muting. I'm so impressed. This is amazing.
It's not over yet, James.
Mr. Sharkey, do you have a warm-up act you could
Oh, yeah.
start with?
I should. Break out into song, then dance. Sure, why not? About 3 minutes ago, I had this like wicked allergy attack. I went outside and almost died. So do you have the ability to like throw people off too, Jamie? Like, you know, if I don't behave, you can like throw me out of this call?
I'm sorry, say that again?
You have
Jamie?
the ability to like throw me out of this call?
Jamie,
Yes, I do. I
yes,
can throw you out immediately, Mr. Sharkey.
some of us have that ability, Mr. Sharkey.
Is that Mrs. Dulski as well?
That is. How are
And
you?
Mrs. Six, and Mrs. Adenauti, and
Garcia.
Mrs. Garcia.
We're here.
Social, you know, social distancing and bullying, I guess.
It all comes from a place of love.
Yeah. Is Rosanna, is Aaron on the call as well?
He said he was gonna be, but I don't see him.
Yes. I was just gonna email you, Mr. Sharkey. Text you rather.
Okay.
I can't tell if he's on yet.
Is Aaron on? Aaron, pick up if you're here.
Yes, he.
I'm here, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, how are you?
Yeah.
Thanks
Good,
for,
very good. How are you?
good. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Anytime.
All right, so kids, it's 6:31. Jamie, I'll go with what you recommend at this point, just by monitoring what you see on your end, how many people are on the call. Let me know.
Okay, Mr. Sharkey, right now we're up to about 75 people.
Okay. Do you suggest we get started?
Yes, I would get started.
All right, everyone. So thank you. Thank you, Jamie. And you got to forgive me, my eyes, since we went into remote, being on a computer every day, I now, I always probably could have worn glasses, but I got away with it. But now I'm done without it. So this is the new look for me. So welcome everyone. And thank you for carving out some time this evening to be part of this little sharing of information session. Just to begin with, I'd like to just go over what's taken place this evening, the overarching intentions, and also talk a little bit about norms as we get started. So what I mean by norms is I thank you, everyone, for Jamie, if you don't mind jumping over to the next slide. We have norms here. Tonight's intention is to provide you with information that we feel is very important. They're frequently asked questions. A lot of wonderings parents have been asking, including staff as well. And so that's really what the intention is for. If there's a need to ask a question, perhaps at the end of this meeting tonight, we will satisfy those questions. But if you have a question that you want clarity, or you have another question, we're going to ask you to use the virtual general office link that you will hear us talk about it a few times this evening. During the process, for any given reason, if you unmute yourself, Jamie is really good at making sure the house stays in order. Because what can easily happen is there'll be a lot of feedback and distractions, and perhaps hit a button by the wrong way. I'll just unmute myself. Talking tonight will be Rosanna Gottlieb, our P.T.A. president, and I understand Rosanna will ask Aaron Bogat, our president of Federation, to say a few words as well. So with that being said, I just want to add one last piece. If your schedule doesn't allow, obviously, if you're not on right now, you're not hearing this, but parents and staff also, share it with any parents. We're going to have this session recorded, and it will be online on our school website for convenience. If that's something you feel people were not able to make it tonight, or schedules didn't allow, this is a recorded session. I think it would be most appropriate, and I'm confident many of you will agree, that before we start this evening's informational session, I would like you to I'm asking you to please join me, if you will, in a moment of silence in observance of the lives lost due to COVID-19 and our PS42 friends and families who also experienced loss or loss of loved ones during this pandemic or this time. So will you please join me for a moment? Thank you, everyone. On behalf of the faculty and our parents, everyone on this call, I think it's most appropriate. Our community, our entire school family, Staten Island at large, and what's happening across our city and state and country, a lot of stuff has taken place. And I know many of you have been dealing with a lot. So I need to start by also just saying that I mean it sincerely. You're in my thoughts and prayers every single night. and I think of all of you. And I also appreciate you thinking of me, because I sense it, as well as I appreciate the feedback I hear from all of you. So here we are, a lot of craziness going on, and I still periodically, if it's not once, it's twice a day, I have this out of body experience saying, really, is this really happening, or is this a bad dream, and I know you can relate, and so it's odd, but at the same time, I just want to say also that I am truly inspired with how much of our community, our teachers, our faculty, our parents, our students, how everyone, that saying, we're building the plane as we're flying it, but how everyone came together and got a plane off the ground, and we are building the plane as we're flying it. And in doing so, everyone's working in partnership, and everyone has been working in concert with each other. And I really appreciate everyone's efforts and the school family, that our family has gotten deeper because of this all. So I also want to say that I get to work with some really cool people. I drop into a lot of team meetings, and I drop into student interactions and connecting with our faculty and staff, and every one of our staff members. I didn't think it would be possible, but it is possible. They are working countless hours. They're communicating at all times, and they're working really well together. And as they're doing that every day, their practices are getting deeper, and as an outcome, better for our students and families. So thank you for that. And I want to go on record thanking our staff, and I know many of them are here tonight. So tonight is an informational session. A lot of the information that came in through our virtual general office, and we also surveyed. We put out a link for this evening and asked a lot of questions about what you feel would be most appropriate to be discussed tonight. And so in doing so, we kind of created some buckets of information, and our PTA can really would like to share some light on and share some information regarding PTA items. However, before I pass it over to Rosanna Gottlieb, our president, I just want to say also thank you, PTA. The Department of Ed actually made note, shared with all schools in the communities, that PTA meetings during this episode are not, they're not required. But thank you, PTA, for A, wanting to do this from the very beginning, and B, asking to be part of this information tonight. So thank you, Rosanna, for carving out some time and doing what you can to provide our families with the information. So Rosanna, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay.
Mrs. Gottlieb.
All right. I have notes. So hi, everyone. There's a lot of people here. It's kind of intimidating. Not used to really talking into a computer. So it's still very awkward for me to speak into a laptop, because I'm a people person and I really like talking to people. But this is our PTA meeting at home edition. To squelch any of your inadequacies, I did put on a necklace and I put on a blouse, but I do still have pajama pants on, if you can see. So I'm just like you. It's the at-home edition. Anyway, so I am the PTA president. I get to be the PTA president during the pandemic year, which is weird. And I always say to myself, I'm like, I really got the short end of the stick this year. I just feel like sometimes I don't know what happened, but I have to refocus myself, and I have to say I'm probably actually very lucky, because I get to be the liaison between the parents and the staff. And if there's ever an important year to be a liaison, this would be it, right? So that's a good thing. So I'm appreciative of that. I think when I want to speak on behalf of the parents, it's more than just, what's going on in the finances, what's going on in, what was making noise? It's a little bit different now. So I'm reaching out to you as one of you. So basically, I think when we start measuring, when phone, the thing that bothers me the most, I think, is when we keep saying when this is over. That's what gets to me, because I keep looking forward to, okay, so when this is over, this will happen. When this is over, I'll be able to go out with my friends and have dinner with my friends, or when this is over, we'll be able to celebrate something. So there is no when this is over. So I think that's what's most agitating about the situation. There is no more when this is over. It's you have to refocus to starting over. So I have to keep changing the way I think when it comes to PTA, when it comes to the kids, to helping to teach the kids. I never liked school as a kid, and I swore when I left college, I said, I'm leaving the school building and I'll never come back. I'll never set foot back in a school building again. And I was gonna, take my television production degree, and I was gonna work for NBC, and I was never gonna see the inside of a classroom. And now I have no choice but to see the inside of a classroom. So, so there's no way out for me, because there's no when this is over, my son's teacher will clean up the mess that I made, or, when this is over, I can rely that someone's going to be there to make it better. So now I have to shift focus. I have to rely on myself. So that's what I think for me is hard. And sometimes just saying it, I feel better just to say it. So basically, when I get to business, we have PTA, our fundraisers. So we have money. We have money from most of the money that we have to use at this point. We have money from grade 5, and we have money from the auction. So grade 5 is when we put that notice out in September, what the grade 5 typically gets every year, that remains. So that's not changing. So the yearbook, the T-shirt, and the autograph book, which was repurposed into a lawn sign, we decided to do that because the very nature of an autograph book. What kid is going to pass around an autograph book and a pen? Are we even going to see each other to use an autograph book? So we repurposed it into something that people would want or be more useful for this year. Okay, so those are the items that are coming to 5th grade with your dues, with your $80 dues. We also wanted to say that we are doing a virtual graduation. So that will be part. Typically in the past, you guys have bought a DVD from Joey G's video, and he will do that this year for us as a ceremony. And he will send it not in a DVD form, but he will send it as a link with an email, and it would save onto your computer, so you can have that. You can keep that as a keepsake because it will come to you as a link, and it's included for you, and it's included for all of the 5th graders. So that's part of what 5th grade will be getting. So all your souvenirs, all your material items, everything is still coming to you. It's a matter also of distribution. Now I did the distribution of the signs. We branched it out, and it worked out really well. So parent volunteers, if we get, the committee involved, we can get everything out to you. I don't ever have a question that we can't get stuff to you. We can get the stuff to you. It's just a matter of when everything comes in, and, we will notify you. Okay. As for auction, we have a lot of the baskets basically that were made. Not all the baskets were made. The baskets that have material items in them stay. They will keep their. We can use them when we can have a function. A lot of the donations were from businesses. So businesses would give tickets, or maybe money off, or like a gift card, a gift certificate. A lot of those things will expire. We're going to see if they will honor us in good faith and use those in the future should their business continue. We don't know, some of the businesses may not continue, but we don't know for sure if everything is going to remain the way exactly it was. We're keeping everything that we have. The money that you guys donated, we have in our account that sits in our bank account. And when we can use that, we can use it. let's see, elections. So elections typically would have happened now, the end of May. Elections can be postponed for, according to Federation, we can do that up until October 31st of 2020. So as time goes on, as everything keeps rolling, we can have our elections. It's just not going to be now, obviously. What else? We do have a, if you go on, now you guys are probably going to have questions for us in addition to this. And a lot of people ask questions. We try to, read everything and make sure we got everything. The things are going to pop up into your head afterwards that you didn't think of. You can go on to our website, and there is a virtual general office. So you'll be able to ask your questions there. We can find out what's going on, and then we can get back to you according to that. Obviously, a lot of the questions are about money, holding money, and things like that. So if you have questions for me, reach out on that website, use the general office, or just keep doing what you're doing. Honestly, I've made a lot of new friends. I've talked to people that I've never talked to before. People find my phone number. People reach out on Messenger. If you know someone who knows me, they've been texting me, and it's been a good thing. It really has. It's been a good thing because I've met a lot of new people, and I've got to get information out and using technology that I've never even thought of using before. So that's me talking into a computer, half dressed. Aaron, I know Aaron is here from Federation, and I guess he wanted to say hello and say a few words before I pass it on. I just wanted to give you guys love and support. All right. Thanks, guys. Take it away, Aaron.
Can you hear me? Is this thing on? We're live?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to say thank you. And Rosanna, thank you for holding the meeting. Waivers did come out that PTAs did not have to hold meetings. When I sent the waiver out, I did. And Mr. Sharkey knows when I met with the principals, I did suggest that PTAs continue to hold meetings such as this. This is a time that PTAs should be doing what we are supposed to do, and that's supporting our parents in their time of need and supporting our school, and to be there for one another. And this Brady Bunch type of meeting, while it may be different, every PTA meeting that I've attended, in the end, everybody walked away. They were satisfied with what they heard. They were a little more at ease. So I want to thank you for doing this meeting. I hope that next month the meeting will be done again to get that information. That's what the PTA is for. It's supposed to get that information out to our parents. The fundraising and everything, all that is great, and it's very necessary, especially with the budget cuts that are coming. But we're supposed to be there for each other, for our kids. The kids are on that bottom of the bottom rung of the ladder, and that's where we're supposed to be. A couple of things that Rosanna already mentioned. I've been to about 6 meetings on an average each day, speaking in front of this computer in my office, the basement. And any updates that I get, I've been sending out to the PTA presidents, to the parent coordinators, as far as what is going on the parent side and the updates that we get. The thing is, and Mr. Sharkey will probably tell you, things are changing so fast. By the time we get one piece of information and we're getting it out, it's changing. So we're doing our best, the best under these circumstances. We will get back to normal. It might not be the same normal. I've said it at every meeting, principals meeting, and meeting with the superintendent every other day or so. There might be a new normal, but it will be back to normal, and we will get back to some sort of normal. Right now, more waivers will be coming out from the chancellor, hopefully very soon. the committee that I sit on with the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Committee. There will be protocols and waivers coming out for refunds, for possible online purchases. Right now, unfortunately, just like with the school, all PTA purchases are pretty much on hold. All reimbursements right now we can't make, but we are working on that process, and we should have it, hopefully. They told us by the end of this week. If it comes out tomorrow, I'll be really, really happy. But it will be coming out within the next few days. Elections, as Rosanna said, elections will be in the fall by October 31st. So anybody that's graduating out will step up. So elections will happen then. Just, for the fifth graders, I just want to let you know it's tough and it's hard. I have twins in high school graduating from high school. I have an eighth grader graduating from eighth grade from middle school. So I'm getting the triple whammy of not having graduations. I'll make it work for them. They'll have a good time. It'll be remembered, something for them to remember, obviously, but I'll make it very special. I know the district is doing everything they can. So fifth graders, hang in there. That's all I can say. One parent to another, hang in there. I see Denise. I was on a meeting with her middle school, and same thing. Things will get better. I'll stick around for the rest of the meeting. If you have any questions, PTA wise, what's going on, and I can chime in. And if I know the answer, I can help out. I'm here to support you. Your PTA is here to support you. Your parents are here to support you. Anything at all, just reach out anytime. And Mr. Sharkey, Ms. Dulski, and Ms. Garcia, they all know that. I'm here whenever they need him. Mrs. Sarno, they all know this. So I want to thank the PTA. I would like to thank the staff. 42 is my old home, as you know, and I miss him. So anything at all, let me know, and thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. We appreciate you, and thank you for also keeping us connected with the district. That's one of my concerns, that as public schools and middle schools continue to run, staying aligned with each other and your close ties with the superintendent is very important. So thank you for that. And yes, we will take advantage of reaching out to you. So,
and anything else, as you know, I'm also CEC president now, so I get that part of it as well. So whatever I can do from both ends, please let me know. Anything.
Thank you, sir. All right. So Aaron, definitely stay on the call. And again, thank you, Rosanna, for doing this with us as well. And as Aaron mentioned, I think it's also important that that we start planning the next meeting. I think in June, Rosanna, we'll get some type of timeout where we can connect with our parents again for our last PTA meeting for the year. So looking at staying committed to the slides and also committed to the agenda. Before I jump into this, Jamie, if you don't mind resetting the mute button, and then we'll go from there.
I projected the next slide. Are you seeing that on your end?
Yep, I see it. Very good. Thank you. Looks good. Thank you, Jamie. And thank you, Jamie, for hosting this evening, helping us out with technology. All right, so to begin with, Rosanna shared a couple of important items. I just want to build off of a little bit with PTA. What they had to say is we had multiple conversations on the last few days, in fact, weeks, making sure that senior dues and monies that were raised and the accountability with monies was always handled appropriately. Unfortunately, they cannot get into the building and gain access to their fiscal reports and bank accounts. That's unfortunate, but also another talking point is that the financial reports for the PTA, that's due also in the fall. They extended that as well. And so I will continue to work with the PTA to help and make sure that all of the monies that were raised and earmarked for our students is utilized appropriately. And that's not a heavy lift because everything is in order. And thank you, Rosanna, for overseeing that. Some of my wheelhouse materials that came in with these questions, both on the virtual mailbox on the school website, as well as the survey we sent out, there were a lot of questions. The number one question, drum roll please, the number one question that surfaced in multiple ways. And some of the questions weren't really questions. They were actually opportunities for parents to just simply put their reflections to paper about recognizing students. And so PS42 traditionally always recognized our pre-K kids moving up, stepping up. Our students in K moving up to grade 1, moving up is a big, big ordeal. We take that very seriously, as well as our 5th graders moving on to middle school and coming together, celebrating our kids for a final assembly. So I just want to say this also was a very easy lift, because when questions came in, they were coming in multiple venues, not only through the links we sent out, but internally through our teachers, having conversations with assistant principals and I, and just talking back and forth as this started. When we first started, the attention was to teaching and learning. The attention was connecting in our households. The attention was deepening our craft and deepening our practice and learning. Not a single one of us walked out of the building on I believe it was the 19th, because the kids' last day was the 13th. And I think we didn't realize what we were jumping into. I don't think our parents knew either. We knew we were going to be teaching remotely, but do we have an idea? And man, we put our energy and focus into that, and I'm very proud, like I mentioned before, of what they're doing. Once we started settling in, the new batch of questions from staff was, how can we recognize our kids? Traditions are just as important to us as they are to you. And so we're right now in the process of working with our pre-K staff, teachers and paras, along with, we have multiple resources in the building and administrators, working to organize a slideshow, celebration, montage of photographs for both pre-K and K. In those venues and in those links, in that celebration of students, recognizing them, there will also be opportunities to hear from our teachers, some reflections, administrators, just as if we were in the building in brick and mortar. Picture that day, if you ever observed one, if you have another child in the past went through that, or you're new to 42, what we generally do is come together and we celebrate our kids and we congratulate them and we step them up and move them up. But when we do that, we say, we share our reflections, and they're always from the heart and they're sincere. And so that also will be captured in the video. And we think that's important. Same thing applies to our 5th grade, our final assembly. Although we will not be meeting up in a venue like we always do at I-75, but we are going to do what we can to make sure that presentation is just as beautiful. Our videographer through the P.T.A, he's working very closely with us, and he also is excited to support us. So right now we have LifeTouch, our yearbook company, working with the P.T.A and getting photographs of all our kids. And be mindful, moms and dads and family members on the call right now, that every single one of these presentations and slides, of course, student privacy is very important, and we'll have those conversations, the appropriate conversations for sure, with every family member, because we have an awareness of privacy as well. So when we capture everyone's thoughts and reflections, we're excited about that. And every one of the administrators and I and teachers on the 5th grade final assembly will also be sharing reflections. And that's an easy one. The other piece on this, if you're looking at the agenda right now, a little powerful bullet, if you will, follows final assembly. And it's simple. Other ideas are in the works. And so what does that mean? Well, I'll build off a little bit about what Aaron was just saying. Aaron is right. There is a lot of change happening. Every single day brings new information, new thinking, and new mindsets. And so right now, within the PS42 faculty administration and working with our SLT and our parents and families, we're brainstorming and we're thinking about other ideas that we can connect with our kids. What does that mean exactly? Well, ideas and ways that we can afford for your children to connect with us, because we know that it's important that your kids get to see us. And we're thinking out of the box and trying to think of ways we can do this, as well as the staff to see your kids, because they have the same energy and mindset that your kids have. Everyone wants to see each other. So what could that look like? That can mean thinking out of the box and perhaps what would we be able to do to come together and see each other while managing social distancing and whatnot. So we're thinking about that. Other ways and ideas that we can acknowledge our students too, thinking out of the box and thinking of other ideas that are in the works is, I kid you not, our fifth graders, traditionally final assembly always takes place. However, we still want to continue recognizing and acknowledging all of our students and recognizing all their efforts and hard work. And so that also is being considered, and we're looking at how we can see that happen. Not if, it's about how. So more information will be coming out to you with all that. At the very beginning, when I first started talking, I just want to tell you that everything we've been doing thus far, I think we're on week 8, if my math is correct, or 7. And I'm being honest with you, it's all blending in. You know the deal. You're living it as well. But every week I put out a letter, and it's not a matter of just sending it out and saying, hey, read this, but it's very thoughtful, and it's prepared in a fashion where you can always go back and reference it, because there's a short little narrative, and then there's new information, and that follows is a series of reminders. Reminders such as devices, reminders that are important about grab and go food if need be. All that information is there in multiple places on our website, but it's also in the newsletter. As other ideas are in the works and start to solidify and memorialize between now and the next P.T.A. meeting, we'll also be using that as a venue and a forum to get information out. Another bucket of questions that came in on those surveys and the virtual general office was about the grading policy. Some questions were really important, focusing on the academics and the more clarity, if you will, on that final grade. So our chancellor sent out, and the Department of Ed sent out a document to our parents and our educators, basically around the same time. And they did a lot of consulting with us prior to it going out. But when it went out, basically the final grade, as you know, at this point is now going to be meet standards and needs improvement. If a child was to get an N for needs improvement, or even an M for meet standard, what's really important to know that our teachers are keeping very good record keeping and a good understanding of what's happening with your children during this time. I also want to talk about the third marking period, because there seemed to be a misconception with that. So when the third marking period comes to an end, which is the very end of the school year, what you'll see is a traditional grade that will appear on that third marking period. I just put out a letter yesterday really providing insight and clarity with that, and I hope it's an easy read. But if you should have a question about that, I would like you to feel free to ask. Just ask a question if you don't mind. What I really feel is important when it comes to that third marking period and our final grade is, please, parents, continue to work with your children and continue to work and be a partner with your classroom teachers, and making sure that our kids during this pandemic and this time in distance learning, they continue to learn to the best of our ability. And I say that honestly, to the best of our ability. What does that mean? Every single household has its own set of circumstances. I don't need to tell you, you know it. But every one of us, some of us struggle with internet or devices. Households might not be conducive, and some households are working at the same time with working with kids. Some kids are more autonomous than others. Some kids cognitively aren't just there yet because they're too young. So it requires a lot of energy. And so we have a lot of uneven experiences that are happening in our homes. And we are aware of that. So please do not ever feel that this is a judgment-free zone. This is not about pass or fail. This is not about someone going to go to summer school. This is about someone who is not doing their due diligence. This is about trying your best, like we do every day, And so when we come back in the, God willing, in the fall, we're not only dealing with what we traditionally deal with, which is the summer slide, because summer slide is what happens when kids naturally break for the summer. But on top of that, we're dealing with the gap that can continuously grow due to this distance learning. So please continue working with your teachers. The teachers will continue to go full throttle with teaching and learning and doing the best that they can, and the students doing the best they can. So if we do that, how Cuomo and de Blasio, our elected officials, and when you watch the news, everyone's always talking flattening the curve, flattening the curve. Well, we're trying to keep the gap from really widening. And if we can keep our gaps as close as possible when we come back in the fall, what we'll be faced with is looking at remediation and then acceleration, identifying where we are and where we got to go. And we'll be doing this with every single student. So it's very important. So third mark and period grades will be forthcoming, and a final grade, which will be holistic, and it will have a grade of meets standards and needs improvement. Jamie? So a very, very important category. And if I was to measure all of them, I think they're all equally weighted. We've talked about academics. That's important. I kid you not. But what's really on the minds of a lot of parents is income, the economy, and what's going on. And so monies were allocated from households to our school. And thank you for that, because we collect a lot of money because we provide a lot of services. And so people doing their due diligence and paying on time, and then all of a sudden the world closed, our school closed and things changed. We have a lot of monies that belong to families. So our school is currently refunding. It's ongoing. Our after school center, we're in touch with the Department of Ed, reclaiming our funds, getting it back into our accounts to pay you. We were able to stop payment on some checks for our Star and Morning Care. And that too, we were able to get back, and we're in the process of recouping all of those monies. So our after school center and Star and Morning Care, we're doing that. We were very fortunate to get refunds back into the hands of parents as fast as possible for school trips. But there's one trip in particular, the trip to Broadway, Wicked, for our fifth graders, which was scheduled for this week. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. However, the outside vendors that we do business with in order to provide that beautiful experience, the ticket vendor, as well as the transportation vendor, the bus company, they're in the process of getting money back to us. Please understand, because we understand, and they're honest with us. They connected. It's not like they're not picking up and they're not working with us, but they're non-essential. They don't have access to their businesses as just like us. So there's a little bit of a delay. However, we're having communication and conversations, and they're working diligently to get back to us. And I feel confident and very comfortable with what they're telling us. As soon as we get monies, we'll be getting it to you as well. School apparel, we work with Wicked Stitches, one of our clothing venues that we use. They too had a delay due to COVID. They have monies that belong to us or merchandise. They had to retool their facility and their shop because they were making masks for the community, which I think is nice to hear. A lot of people are doing that. Many organizations and everyone stepped up, but they just contacted us too, and they're back to completing their orders. And I understand those orders will be coming to one of our staff members very shortly to their homes, and we'll be getting that back to you as fast as possible. Just please be mindful. Privacy is always important, but it's not if there's an issue going on, I kid you not, if I was a parent at PS 42 and I needed just to vent and talk to someone, or if there's something going on, I would really take advantage of the school. The school has a crisis team, and the word crisis means multiple things. It could be someone's health in the household. It could be something's going on in the household. It could be a series of escalations or just not healthy mindsets, or unfortunately, the loss of a loved one. In the case of COVID, since we've been out, we've had to use our crisis team in multiple ways. But it's not one team and one size fits all. What we really do is we look at the child and we look at what's going on, and we really work collaboratively to think about what's in the best interest and how could a kid be more responsive to what adult and whatnot. So we have that. If you feel the need moving forward, and even over the summer, we have some really cool people. They are multi-talented, but the biggest tool they have in their toolbox at our PS42 faculty and staff is there a lot of mommies and daddies and aunts and uncles and grandmas and grandpas. All right, so we can help in any capacity, take advantage. Right now, the Department of Ed is messaging pre-K and K. This is always a hot topic because parents want to retain a seat next year. You know, it's part of planning. It's part of setting your household up for success, and I totally get it. The DOE is open, even though physically our doors are closed, but we are operating. And so they're messaging out to families. Our pre-K and K information is going out. I believe the G&T right now, as we speak, is open to the end of the month. If you have any registration concerns or questions, or you got something in the mail that just doesn't feel right to you, or you're maybe even not happy with, or you're happy, and you need a sound bar, you have a question about it, let's utilize that link on the website, the general office. By the way, that general office, you probably heard us talk about it numerous times so far. We're going to keep using it even when things go back to the new normal. That is, at any given time, someone has a question, put it in there, and with hours, we were going to get back to you. And it's a really nice way to hold ourselves accountable. And I worry sometimes parents will email me and it will get lost in my email. I don't see it, or if it goes sometimes to because of someone's email address and my filters, I don't get it. This is a really great way to stay connected and be accountable for getting back to you, which is important. Drive by the school, you see our school is still draped with construction and scaffolding and whatnot, and it looks like everything is moving along, but it's not. Unfortunately, one of the bright sides to this, I thought we were going to get all this work done when we're not in the building. How great would that be? In fact, I think that would make sense. However, due to the virus and the COVID concerns, the city does not want people in and out of the buildings, and that makes sense to me as well. So right now, we're at a standstill with construction. I'm hoping that as the phases start to unravel and we go into different phases where we can go back to work in some capacities, construction will resume. But the good thing is that they started. Our air conditioning work in the main building, the electrical conduit, the abatements, the running of piping, et cetera, is ongoing. They had to stop for the COVID, but they should finish what they started, which is a good thing, which brings me to the next talking point, that there are conversations taking place, and we're being asked to be prepared to experience major budget cuts as a city in respect to all of the departments, including the Department of Education. We're expecting more than I've ever experienced before. I've been in the business for a while now, and they're telling me, I won't tell you the date because then you're going to start doing the math, but I've heard budget cuts, and we always weathered them because the truth is, it's no secret, PS42 always ran lean. We never really got a lot of extra money. All the things we talked about earlier about refunding, they're all parent programs that are paid by parents. But right now, some schools will be dealing with major cuts, and they're going to affect their programs. I am hoping that the cuts that we experience will not go too deep, because you can't really take away something you never had. So I will be sharing with you the budget cuts along the way, working with school leadership and at the next P.T.A. meeting, and also in my weekly letters. And as we plan for next year, we will be truly transparent along the way. When we plan for next year, a lot of cool ideas came into play. Parents shared some ideas about, what if we keep our kids together? What if we do this type of program? Letting the teachers and kids move, or could the kids stay together for a period of time? There's a lot of great, healthy ideas out there. I totally get it. At the same time, we're going to be watching what the Department of Ed is offering and suggesting. And at the same time, too, I look at the calendar, and I really want you to think about it. If we were to go back in September, if everything goes as planned, we're looking at just short of 6 months being out of the building. And so I'm going to look for the best protocol and practice that I feel is most conducive for children and learning. and also make sure at the same time that we come up with a protocol that is healthy for parents and our staff. So please expect more information. Traditionally, I always give you a ATS code on your child's report card last day of school. And I know the deal. It's funny. I'm the first to laugh. People always try to figure out what teacher this, that, and I get it. I totally get it. I did it myself with my own kids, and it's part of the school fun. But what we're going to do this year, I just want to go public. We're not going to put that out. I want to really keep it close until the very end. So when we have all the information, the city is very transparent, and also how that budget will take place. There's nothing worse than messaging and then remessaging and messaging again. I want to wait until the most appropriate time. Virtual general office, it's on the website. Please use it. Again, this is a safe room. I'm with school family and friends. If you really like to rely on information through word of mouth and friends, that's cool. I get it. But a lot of times that information is uneven, or it's not actually as current because things change. So if you can, and I'm asking you for two purposes. One, use the virtual general office link to drop a question. But those questions help us drive the agenda and drive us in planning and decision making too. It's our way of keeping our finger on the pulse. So I said a lot. I'm looking at the time. It's 6:39. Not 6:34. We kind of got started, and we're just short of an hour. And I would like to, at this point, once again, remind everyone that this is recorded, and also if you have a question, use the link. But as I close, I've been thinking about this, and Aaron said it as well. I said it numerous times. A lot of things have been changing, and we know for sure change will definitely continue. It's just going to look different, and it appears every day. At the end of the day, something new surfaces, whether it's an email or turning on the television and watching the media. Sometimes we learn about what's happening in our schools through media as well. But I know for certain that change will continue. That is certain. But as we continue to ride the wave together, let's just be open to that change and be prepared to act accordingly. What definitely did not change and what has remained the same is the fact that our values, our commitment, our mindset, our dedication to your children and to our families, and our faculty's dedication to everyone outside the community and internally. We feel it outside coming in, and it's inside coming out. It is one big happy family, and that has not changed. It might look different, but the core values are still there. And someone just recently made a joke, and they said, "Are you going to say we got this at the end of this meeting?" So there, I just said it in a different context, but we do. And so as we continue this, I just want to know that I get through this all, and making sure that our kids are getting through this all. I love seeing and hearing them learn. I love it all. And we want you to also share with us what's going on. The more communication, the better. I also like to end with a little personal thing. I totally get what you're all going through, whether your child's in pre-K or K or 5th grade, or even going to middle school, graduating in 8th grade, whatever it might be, or high school. I have 3 kids, as you know, and my oldest is a graduate. This Sunday, she is scheduled to graduate from Rutgers University with a degree in psychology and criminal justice. She worked her tail off for a number of years, and here we are, not being able to come together and celebrate her at her graduation. So what are we doing? We're just going to get up early that morning, perhaps go to the campus, social distance, take some nice pictures, bring some Kleenex, a tear or two I'm sure will be shed, and then we're going to graduate her on my deck. I'm turning my barbecue, my Weber grill into a podium, and we will graduate. The good news is I'm the keynote speaker, not for her, but that's good for me. And we're going to make it work, because when it's all said and done, every child should be acknowledged. So we're going to do that in our families, and we're going to continue doing that in our school family. Folks, let's have a great night tonight. Let's stay connected. And again, Rosanna, Aaron, thank you for your time. Jamie, Reyes, thank you for hosting this. Aileen Delsky also was on hosting this, making sure everything went well. We appreciate you. If you like, before you dial off, maybe you want to unmute.
Mr. Sharkey,
Absolutely.
you missed one of the bullets.
Yeah, if you want to go back and talk about building access, maybe student materials and belongings.
Sure. Totally sorry about that.
No worries.
You guys are great. Just when you think you're out, they pull you back in. That's thank you. That's an important item. So student materials and belongings. Unfortunately right now, and I think my word is good in Eltonville. The last time I was in the school was March 19th. I posted a video. I was the last one in, and I have not been in the building. And the reason why is because the DOE asked us not to, because we really have to be mindful of germs and making sure we're not spreading the virus. And so that building has been cleaned. We're open in only certain areas for grab and go. There is no building access whatsoever to the community. We're having conversations with the UFT and teachers. If they need something, I will be making arrangements, and that will be a very thoughtful plan how to get something in the building and out in a thoughtful way. And that is strictly for materials to support teaching and learning. When it comes to student materials and belongings, we are anticipating guidance on how that's going to work. But again, I use both hats. This is the father in me now. If a pencil case has been in your family for years and passed down from generation to generation, and that's important to you, we'll get it back to you. But I also want you to think about, really what's important. We were in an environment that certainly had the virus. We know that. We had students, we had family members, we had the virus in our community. We did. And to be respectful of people's privacy, just trust me when I tell you, it was with us. So I want you to think about really what's important. And as we learn more about how we can get personal materials, I would suggest to you really think about what's important. And we'll get that back to you. Or perhaps you might say to the teacher, let it ride and let it go, and we'll go from there. That's a decision that I'll allow for our parents to make and work closely with the school when the time comes. But please expect guidance on that shortly. Okay, did I miss anything else, kids?
No, I think you got everything.
All right. So I don't know about you, but I would love to see maybe a few people, if it's possible. If you unmute as you're saying goodbye, we can say hello, and I miss you guys. And, I can't wait to connect with you the next time at the PTA meeting and also through our school correspondence. Thank you, everyone, for your time tonight.
So you got nothing. You got no info.
Hi, Mr. Sharkey. Thank you. Mr. Sharkey.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I didn't unmute. They unmuted.
Have a good night.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you. Good night.
Good
night.
Good night, Mr. Sharkey.
Hi, thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Sharkey.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Sharkey.
Sharkey.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Bye, Mr. Sharkey.
Bye. Who is that?
Kirsten.
Hello. How are you?
Charles.
Bye, Mr. Sharkey.
You got the whole plan there. Bye, guys. Nice job with the video.
Hi.
Hi, Sharkey.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good night.
That the DeLuca family?
Yeah.
Have a good
Mr.
night.
Sharkey.
Bye, Mr. Sharkey.
How's it going? All right. Good seeing you.
Good seeing you too.